What's going on, everyone? Tarisland has announced their second closed beta test. It is going to begin on November 15th, and they have stated that it's going to run for at least 2 weeks. So that's plenty of time to be able to play the game, check it out, determine whether or not you like it. You know, we last beta, it only ran for 1 week, and we got to get a really good feel for some of the raids that were available, the PvP, as well as all the crafting systems. Now, there are some changes in this beta test, and we're going to go through those things. But first, to sign up for this beta, you literally just have to, we'll put a link to this in the description below. You just hit sign up. You'll make a level infinite pass account, log in with that verification code, and then you're signed up, and you just have to wait for an email. Now, new classes are coming with this beta. All right, we're bringing in the Shadow Swordsman, or their assassin, and a new Mystic class. Now, the Shadow Swordsman was originally available on character creation in the last beta, but we couldn't play it. There was somebody who did have an assassin character on the last day of beta, and you could see why they had it disabled in that last beta, because it was broken. It was doing way too much damage, and they clearly needed to retune, rebalance, rework it, whatever it is that they were doing to it, because it just would have had a very bad experience in that beta. So this is the dual-bladed assassin type character. It does have a stealth mechanic in it. The new class is a Mystic. It is a range damage dealer or healer. And they have a little teaser trailer for it here, and you can see that it is a little mystical, and it has some soul elements to it. So we see some butterflies coming off of the lantern there. But then here we can see a bunch of little ghosts flying away. So that's going to be one of the new classes as well. So there's going to be 2 new playable classes this time around, so it's going to be a much more diverse gameplay experience. Additionally, they've made a handful of class changes in terms of either the class's individual mechanic or changing some of the abilities in terms of how they function, like Barbarian, Fighter, Tank spec. We know they changed up a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see how some of those changes play out. There's going to be a new raid available in this playtest. So throughout the leveling, there were raids that we got as early as level 30, and then there were raids that were also at level 40, which was max level in the last playtest. Within the first few days, there's going to be a new 10-player raid that'll be available, bringing about new changes. New quest stories are also added so that players can learn more backstories about this raid. We'll reveal more about this new raid's worldview and further details later. So there were a lot of bosses that they've also made adjustments to in terms of difficulty. Some were too easy, some were a little more difficult in terms of the gear that was available at that time. This is a big one, PvP. Last time, the arena system was not in, it was not working, they didn't have it functioning. This time, the arena system will be in, so it'll be really awesome to be able to experience the arenas this time for the game. The 2 battlegrounds from last time are still going to be in. Hopefully they've made some changes to them, because one of the battlegrounds was very goofy in that you won by not doing the objective. So that was something that was a little off with the one cart push mode that they had for one of the BGs. So hopefully that's had some adjustments made to it as well. Now, there are some new systems that they are implementing in this beta also. So there's going to be an inscribed stone skill system that will be available in this playtest. Each class specialization will have its own unique inscribed stone skill. We hope that the players can explore the infinite possibilities brought by those skills and share your thoughts and suggestions with us. So I think this is a new system that they're implementing to try and bring about another level of diversity in terms of people's builds and gameplay for their classes, as it was pretty one direction in terms of the builds that we saw and the methods in which people played their classes. There was a little variance. Each specialization had 2 technical potential routes that you could go on the talent tree, but it was relatively straightforward in terms of what you took. So, if the inscribed stone skills are just, a nice extra skill that is different in order to give a different option for players to change up their build. Cool. But we'll have to wait and see how it actually plays out. And then the Dark Invasions, which is a new world activity that takes place in the open world of Tarisland. So these are going to be kind of like rifts that open up throughout the map, and they're going to be events that persist in an area on the map for 3 days at a time, alongside the world bosses that exist. So you can see it here. It'll show up Dark Invasion on the map. You can click on the icon and you'll get teleported to the event. So this will be a nice like open world. It's like an invasion activity that you'll go to, eliminate monsters, donating items, closing portals, and you can pick quests to determine which one of those activities you want to engage in and get the rewards. I'm sure it's going to have, a limited daily or weekly reward on it, just like the world bosses do. That way you can't just infinitely farm it, but we'll see, or at least up to a certain point. World bosses are still going to be there. Some of the world bosses were really cool. Some of the world bosses were really lackluster. Some of the world bosses had some awful audio glitches around them, and hopefully those have been addressed as well at this time. I would say one of the big things that I look to see with this beta is that the acquisition of tier set gear from PvE content, be it from boss drops or from raids, is more based on which spec you're in. There were issues where people would be playing a tank spec and they'd get DPS tier, or they'd play DPS spec and get tank tier, and it wasn't very enjoyable to have that when the loot was, on a weekly basis or daily basis, but mostly weekly from the raid gears, where it was limited in terms of how much you could get, since we could only play for 1 week. But that may be something that's not an issue this time around. We'll just have to wait and see with that. So the second beta is going to, they say it's going to run for at least 2 weeks. It's going to begin on the North American server November 15th, 2023, South American server, European server, Asian server. So there's going to be 4 servers this time running around. They are going to be supported in English, French, German, Russian, Spanish, and Portuguese. The second CVT will be available in 16 countries: United States, Spain, Canada, Portugal, Germany, France, UK, Belarus, Brazil, Argentina, Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, and so on. And so on, whatever and so on is. Will the data collected during the second CVT saved after it ends? So no, all your data is going to be wiped, your characters are wiped, and then your progression is going away. This one, I'm questioning a little bit. For the first time, the closed beta will introduce optional in-game purchases for both PC and Android platforms. I'm hoping this is purely a testing ground type of thing, and any money somebody spends on this will be refunded to them for their account on release, because it would be really sketchy for players to be able to buy stuff and then it just is wiped and goes away, or at least anything that they buy from their cosmetics or whatever it's going to be, the optional in-game purchases will persist into the release. I'm assuming none of it is gameplay oriented, right? No progressional items, but if it's just purely cosmetic and it carries over into launch for them, so they just automatically have it, cool. That's a different story. Gonna be keeping an eye on this for when the beta does drop and we get to see it in game. The playtest will be available for PC and Android. The recommended devices for the requirements are as follows. Honestly, you can probably get away with not a 1060 whatsoever. I mean, it says recommended, so the minimum is definitely going to be lower. The game is not resource intensive whatsoever. It's very stylized graphics, just like World of Warcraft, but it's not as particle intensive. So again, if you want to take place in this beta, just go to the website, sign up, you're good to go. You'll be notified in your email whether or not you qualify for the playtest. Other than that, that's the second beta. Looking forward to checking it out, seeing what they've changed, see how the gameplay feels. I thought the game was ready to come out last time in the last beta, so we'll see how much they've changed or added in this time. But we had a good time with it last time. It was a nice change of pace. It was very chill. and it was enjoyable for what it was. So looking forward to seeing what it offers this time around as well. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you enjoy the video, be sure to like the video, and if you have any questions, you can catch us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zav. Take care and have a good one.